I can hang out for a little bit if you guys want to do like some Q&A and talk about the campaign and stuff.
I have literally 4 minutes left before I have to leave for an event. I have a
Aw,
couple questions I'd love to ask.
Okay.
There's one I must know, because Crash Gem, I need my night's sleep back. At the very beginning of this game, when we were in the Rum Gremlin fight, I activated a Wild Surge, and you said, everything has changed and you'll never know how. Can I know how now? Please.
Oh
Please.
man, I'd have to go so far back in time to Will, the keeper of the Wild Surges. Oh man, hold on. That's over a year ago. Let's see.
Yeah, it's like a year and a half ago. And I've woken up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat asking myself, what was it?
I honestly think, hold on.
It probably wasn't anything. It probably was nothing.
What's this year, 2023? Okay,
Yeah.
We got to keep going. All right.
2022 would have to be.
Yeah, like, oh man, I talked to Will a lot, so hold on. Let me go.
I mean, he's in chat. Maybe he remembers.
Man, I'm not going to put this burden on him. Hold on. All right, now we're in Extra Life. Let's keep going.
It's close. It's close.
Is it? All right, hold on. Halloween time. Okay. All right, where are we at? We're still in October. Damn. Okay. Hold on. Let's see.
Oh man, yeah. There's a lot still. Skull
All right, no, we're in August. Hold on. I'm telling you guys, I talked to Will a lot.
I'm looking for the date of the episode right now.
Let's see.
It was 1 year ago.
Okay, I'm back in March. Let me scroll forward. Okay. Oh, big booby Kyra. Nice. Let's see. Call it macaroni thumb. Ah. Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay. I actually remember what it is now. Looking back at chat. So it was all wooden weapons in the world are fireproof.
What?
But it never really came up.
No.
So I didn't. Yeah. So I didn't really.
Can you imagine as Barnabas if I had like fought against someone with wooden weapons and I'd been like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna burn these away. Oh my god, that's funny.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Now that you can sleep at night.
Thank you. I actually do. I mentioned this a few sessions ago, but we encountered a mountain troll when we were approaching Wrath Keep, and you were saying, "Oh, this doesn't belong here." Like, and then we were like, "Yeah, we're gonna ignore it." And you're like, "And we'll never find out about what the mountain troll was." That like a lead for us to go into the Wormspoke Mountains and discover the Illithids at like level 4?
No, it was just to they had been displaced by
the effect.
Yeah, by the people. Yeah, by the people rediscovering the Fane of Blood, and they had kind of fled from the bad feels and the bad vibes that were coming up from the mountain, essentially.
Okay.
Yep.
2 more questions.
And of course, any of them that were captured by the Red Hand were forced into slavery. So
right.
Yeah.
2 more quick questions. What's in the Tomb of Bradley Flameheart other than vampirism and the Great Sword made of fire?
So there is an entire dungeon that you guys did not go to. I will. I don't know. I guess I'll take you to it real quick just so you can see it. Here we go. Activate it. Let me close all these. You don't have any minis on the board. Let me turn off the lighting. It's just going to be a quick peek because I might want to reuse this for something because I worked really hard on it. Lighting, token vision not required. Blah blam. There was a whole fucking dungeon. There was sexy vampire ladies and
vampire waifu.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. So that's what
I would have had a field day here.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's see. There was another one. I'm gonna ask this while I think of it. Warkelnaw's gauntlets. I accidentally made Warkelnaw's gauntlets. How were we? Like, was there a line of quests that would lead us to finding Warkelnaw's gauntlets? And was that one spike gauntlet, the poison gauntlet we found, is that connected to him?
That was his gauntlet.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But it seemed cooler that you made him one because it seemed like it seemed for a Fey adjacent creature that was like a much better thing than finding the old one was to make like a new one.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
And then my last question, I actually have a number of questions, but the only last important question was the drunken dwarf in the Dwarven Hold. Was that just a drunken dwarf?
Yes.
Okay. It wasn't Morrigan or RNGesus.
Nope. Nope. All right. Okay. Good luck at your thing that you must go to.
Yes, I must go work an event now. But thank you,
Bye,
guys, everyone. This was one of the greatest D&D campaigns I've ever played in. I appreciate this so much. I had such a good time over the course of this last year and a half, and I look forward to our next adventure.
Yeah, same here, man. It was an honor.
It was
Indeed.
an honor. Take care. Thank you for doing all the extra works with notes.
Yes, I double down on that.
Agreed. Like, your recaps kept me going, because in the beginning when we played every other week, it was super hard. I had a lot of shit going on in my life at that point. Plus, I was running the other games, so like I was really relying on you doing them recaps. So, and then towards the end, when you basically took it over completely, they let Lex focus on Sunday game, which they need. They need that real bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good. Appreciated.
It was my honor and pleasure to do so. And also, you hear the smashing sound of a great emotional weight clattering to the ground. Yes. Everyone, have a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing the rest of this on stream for what it is left. I will see you all soon. Goodbye.
Yep.
Okay.
Take care.
Later.
It's been a good game. I enjoyed every bit of it.
I have a simple question. What was your favorite boss to run at us?
Favorite boss in the whole campaign? I'm gonna be honest. I thought a Bithriax as a random encounter, taking 6 fucking hours. I thought that you guys would be like, I fucking hate you. Why would you make us fight a boss for 6 hours? But like, in the moment, I hope it didn't feel like a horrible drag for you guys. I was surprised that we had that fight run 6 hours and nobody was just like, we gotta fucking done, right? Like, he would try to leave and you guys would be like, get back in here. And I was like, oh my fucking god.
We wanted to
So,
kill
like-
a dragon, okay?
So like, I definitely felt like that was good. I felt like that was really good. I liked the mechanics that he was bringing to the table with the bombs and stuff like that. I thought it was really neat. I don't know. I liked the final battle quite a bit. It was so many moving parts, and it felt like it was a big map with a lot of moving parts, and you guys were having to kind of like in the moment kind of puzzle out like how to deal with each of the parts, you know? And it was a slow burn to get started, because it was like, oh, they're just buffing themselves. They're just buffing and like moving us around. Like, it was like, what are they up to? What are they doing? But they were building towards like, you know, more and more. So I felt like that had a nice momentum to it, and I felt like it had some very interesting like interacts between all the different units and how they would support each other in the battle. I thought that was kind of fun, versus like one big ass monster having like a lot of smaller monsters that are working together was kind of a neat one. Yeah, I would probably say that the last boss was pretty cool to run for me, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, that would be my answer. Now, of the bosses that you didn't face, there was some pretty nuts ones, but they might show up in other games. So
Put them all in the Curse of Strahd random encounters.
Hey, hold on a second now.
we got extra life coming up. So yeah.
I was gonna say, give it all to Daybreak.
No,
Yeah.
no, sir.
We did. I did add the dragon that you guys convinced to go somewhere else. That's where he went. So
Hell yeah!
God damn it.
Yeah. But there was like a lot of cool stuff. I thought the fight against the Hydra was
that one still sticks out.
Pretty fucking great. I thought that was really rough. Like, the math was terrible. It was just, its action economy math was terrible. It was just brutal. So yeah, I'd say that was one of the best early ones. I'll never forget the fucking troll. I was like, oh my god. Like, I've never in like 29 years seen a boss just clown shoes its way through a fight like so badly. And I was worried in prep afterwards. I was like, I'm worried that they're going to be so confident going into every fight now. This was supposed to be a boss fight that kind of showed them like, yeah, it's going to be a tough campaign. And this dude couldn't wipe his own ass. And I was just like, okay, we'll see what happens. But I think that the Fomorian overreach definitely kind of corrected the compass a little bit. But you guys remain like balls out, super strong, super confident, I think. for the whole campaign.
I was
I
gonna
feel
say,
it.
the next
Yeah.
fight against the Rum Gremlins kind of put us a little bit back into.
Oh, with that one particular swarm of rats that wouldn't stop critting.
Yeah.
Like that one. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the joy and the sorrow of just rolling the dice and just taking the dice as you see them. You know, like rolling behind a screen. It's just never going to be the same as just like honoring like the crazy rolls, the bad math, the dumb decisions, and just did you still make it out the other end? That's incredible kind of thing.
And I 100% agree. That Fomorian fight put our asses back in check real quick.
You know,
Yeah.
I wish I was there for that fight.
it was yeah, it was rough. It was rough. Yeah, that's a good question. So.
I guess overall campaign, since you've technically run this twice, one that's kind of more adhering to the original, and now with the kind of more Fae influenced version, which do you kind of prefer a little bit?
I think that at the time that Red Hand of Doom was written, which was the end of 3.5 and the beginning of Pathfinder, that there's a reason that it's well respected and, you know, honored, right? Like, careful with him, he's a hero kind of thing. Like, it was the best 3.5 adventure, I think, that they made before the end, right? Before Pathfinder kind of took the mantle, maybe a little bit by force, from 3.5, and things kind of started moving in that direction. I think it was the last good D&D adventure from that generation. At the time, Tiamat was not being like poured out so hard by Wizards of the Coast. So like this was like an adventure, the original, where instead of the Sanguine King, these hobgoblins were like, hey, we're lawfully evil, Tiamat's lawfully evil. What if we worship Tiamat? And they're like, we like war, and she's sometimes called the scaled conqueror. What if we Tiamat worship? I don't know. And so like it was a weird pairing, I felt, that worked. And then the five-fingered hand, the Hand of Doom, the red Hand of Doom, was supposed to represent the 5 heads of Tiamat. So it was like a hidden meaning, right? And then they had a lot of just mixed bag stuff in that adventure of like devils because Tiamat, and dragons, but also you still had hobgoblins and you had giants, and so it was very like it felt a bit more unfocused, but it wasn't very hard to do a palette swap. And I felt that the challenge of trying to take the very strange decision of Wizards of the Coast to make hobgoblins into fey creatures, and kind of try to make it work, try to kind of make that work as like an actual lore decision, not just a bullshit like, yeah, they're hobgoblins and only a small amount of them are actually mean and evil. The rest are super sweeties that believe in community and hug at each other. So the challenge was there to try and like make it a believable thing, like hobgoblins as fey creatures, like how does that work? And so that gave me like opportunities to kind of go in and try to reskin the bosses to be more fey. There was already a strong fey presence with the Witchwood and the Thornwaste, so it wasn't like hard to kind of switch it over. I'd say that looking at both campaigns, it's no contest. I enjoyed this group and running this version so much more than the first time I ran it. Just so much more. If I were, God forbid, to ever run this campaign a third time, I think that this particular campaign would be a Pathfinder 2e dream come true. I think that it would be a perfect game for someone that wants to try their hand at converting an old adventure into a Pathfinder 2e adventure. This is a great campaign for that. Because it's a lot of, it's sandbox, but like you could scale it to be like level appropriate sandbox as they move around the map relatively easily in that system. And I think that there would be another opportunity there to reskin it again for the lore of Golarion and kind of find a place in Golarion to kind of put this in. And I think that has potential to be pretty exciting again. But definitely of the two times that I've run it, this is definitely my favorite of the 2 times.
So, Scales of War Pathfinder 2 edition?
Ooh. So I made a promise to myself that I would never run Scales of War again. It's a garbage campaign. Yeah.
Mine done.
It's really bad. It was a lot of work to run and to convert from 4E, and it came out at the very end of 4E, so like it was like kind of written by like a skeleton crew, and like every chapter was written by a different person. And so like it had some like 5E Ghost March vibes or Salt Marsh vibes, excuse me, where it was like, here's a bunch of adventures that all happen near water, and that was like it. And you had to, as the DM, you had to find a way to tie them all together into a campaign that made sense. That is what happened with Scales of War. It just felt like all over the map, and it was very much trying to use the clout of the Red Handed Doom game, but it only like casually. It's like, oh yeah, you've heard of Red Handed Doom, this is totally the sequel, wink. But like, it wasn't like very much the sequel. It was very much like, yeah, you guys liked Red Handed Doom, we're gonna keep mentioning it for this campaign, so that maybe the nostalgia will keep you going.
Oh god.
Yeah, it was
so far.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But highlight reel of when I ran that campaign, Celeria Starsinger became a vampire, which was kind of dope. Yeah, well, they didn't deal with a lot of the. There were some red hand groups. There was no time skip. They just kind of. Well, I guess there's a little bit of a time skip. Anyways, remnants of the red hand that survived because vampire. They went and they found like they infiltrated the elves. A blood hag took over. Like there was so much stuff going on. Like Tiamat recruited like all these people and made all this shit happen at once. So like we did a time skip and then we opened with like 13 different things that they had to deal with. And the idea was Tiamat was trying to keep them so busy and so distracted that they would never be able to kind of get their feet underneath them and figure out what was going. But they dealt with like the Queen of Winter, and then like in their version of the game they didn't deal with the King of the Dwarves in the first part of the campaign, so he got super duper powerful, and he was like basically possessed by the aspect of Mammon, the Archdevil of Greed. And like there was so much, it was crazy, but it was also like a lot of work. I basically had to take the bones of the 4th edition adventure and piece something together that would be an actual true sequel. And I'm like, I'm not doing that again. Plus I hate running high level stuff. So
You poor soul. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
No, I mean it was a nice experience. It was my first 5e adventure all the way to 20. To DM all the way to 20. And as a military kid moving around and having to like stop campaigns because, you know, you had to move and you didn't get to finish the campaign. It was a really good feeling to finally get to run a campaign from 1 to 20. So that was cool. So I'm happy about it for that. I had a blast running Tiamat as the actual Tiamat, not like the aspect of Tiamat, but the 6 pages of stats Tiamat as the final boss of that campaign. So like there was definitely good moments, but it's not something I would ever do again. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Do you have any questions for us? But go ahead.
Yeah,
Ooh.
really.
All right. Any questions for you guys? Okay. Yeah. Does anyone have like a scene or fight, or moment that really like hit them like hard? Like this was like when they think about the campaign, that's like one of the things that comes to mind right away. It was like when this thing happened, or when this person did this thing, or when all this happened, or when all the dice conspired in such a way as to make this thing happen. Is there like a moment like that for anybody?
For me, it was just the overall Jert and Regirat's situation and how that played out to its conclusion. I was really captivated by that whole moment, and it was sort of separate from the Red Hand scenario overall, and I don't know, I found myself attached to that. It was really nice.
Anyone else have a thing that really stood out, or like a scene or a moment or a fight?
I have two. One, I'm not too deep into tabletop RPGs. I've only been playing D&D maybe about 5 years, and not those campaigns have really gone to certain places. Water is dangerous. So that river was that.
It's
that
way
put the-
it's way worse in Pathfinder 2e. Oh my god, we basically just treat it like lava, like in Pathfinder 2e.
5 feet of movement, baby.
Yeah,
Woo!
we're a video game character that just dies when they go in water. Like that's how it feels in Pathfinder 2e. We see water and immediately like breathing starts to quicken, and we like look for high ground. It's like really bad.
It's like that, or just get my next backup.
Yeah.
That was one thing that kind of got me, because never really acted much with water in certain scenarios. I would probably say making the decision to switch out of Ryan when Pari was going to the Thorn Waste. That was pretty hard for me. Just because, attachment to the character and whatnot, and wanting to stay with the party, but also trying to stay true to the character and not wanting to kind of take that chance to lose his connection to his buddy. Yeah, I think that's two things for me.
If anyone minds, I have a question for the rest of the party. So, what gave you the idea that helped create your character to be what they are now?
I don't want to get espresso in the chat here, but as somebody who has a dissociation and identity disorder, I strived to make a character who would to just about everybody read as a changeling, but the trick was that he was just a normal guy. A mysterious, aloof, random guy. I had other plans for him at the beginning and whatnot, but it was interesting to come back with Guy after a long time. Around March of this year, I actually had some really bad memory loss, so I didn't remember much, so it was really easy for me to get back into Guy because it was kind of just like muscle memory from there. But when designing him, it was very much, how can I make a copycat, like a bard who does knockoffs, and really play into the guy who's always stealing your show, but you can't really hate on him too much. Whenever you introduce somebody to a hobby and they're better than you at it and you don't want to play with them anymore. And that's just Guy. That's kind of how he works. He's wholesome about it too. It's just unfortunate. That's where he came from. So
An unnatural, natural prodigy at everything that he touches.
Exactly.
I'm not too because usually I write out like backstories for characters. I really didn't write a lot for Layla. I kind of wanted her to be a bit more of a blank slate, like built to be built by the characters that she interacts with. Like, I started off kind of aloof, a little cold to people, but like how she changed and grew kind of depended on you guys. So it was kind of an interesting thought experiment of like someone finding themselves. She's young, she doesn't know who she is.
Yeah.
She's coming into her age, and she's being defined by you guys more than herself.
Nice.
Oh,
I think there was definitely a bond there with Team Nature and their adventures and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people were very surprised when you decided to stick to your guns and be like, no, really, Orion will not go. He's not going to put Claude in danger, and Claude does not feel safe going, so he's not going to go. And I mean, that was a long time that you set your character aside, and played a different character.
I remember that I almost stayed with you, Orion.
Yeah.
I think it was Guy. Maybe it was Guy that argued Orc Thanlin. Someone made a really good in-character argument. I was like, okay, that's what Layla needed to hear, because I was ready to set myself aside too.
I think it was Raidriar.
Yeah, it was. I don't remember who it was, but someone put like a really good in-character argument, and I was like, shit, you just convinced her.
Oh,
That's a good question from chat. You play tested Beastheart. Would you play it again, Lex?
Ooh. I guess for the character one, I'll kind of answer that one first. I know that everyone at the very beginning, we were joking about just playing a bunch of Humies. And I was kind of on board with it, but then I also kind of wanted to test out a couple of other things and decided to go with Mousefolk. And then I think when the Beastheart was coming out, I was like, ooh, this thing's pretty cool. Pet class. I don't really play those as often. And then I guess the decision of like what my companion would be. I know I threw a couple of ideas at you, Crash, just to try and see what would work. And I think I think from the actual guide, there's not a lion, but there is an owlbear. And I think we decided to reskin that into a lion just to kind of do a little bit of a play of the mouse and the lion, that whole fairy tale fable. But if I would play it again, I would think so. There's a couple of things that I think probably could be a little bit smoother with the class, and I think we made the observation a couple weeks back. It is essentially kind of playing two characters earlier on. I don't think they really have as much of an impact.
It starts to fall. Yeah, it definitely started to fall off there when you got to higher levels.
Yeah, when you get to higher levels, it definitely becomes two characters.
From what I've read in and played so far, the Summoner class in Pathfinder 2e is very similar. Like at lower levels, it's like, damn, they just let you have two characters. Like, what the fuck? But then like later on in the game, I feel like you don't have it. Do you feel that the higher level you were getting, the more you had two characters, or the less you had two characters?
Oh, I felt I was more getting two characters because because earlier on I felt like it was kind of like, okay, I'm like two half characters with some abilities, but then once like more primal stuff started coming online, Ryan's kind of doing some more damage and other stuff on its own. Now Claude has his different actions. Once you start getting more of those things, then it starts becoming more complex. I would play it again. Definitely. I mean, you DM Crash. How did you feel it was for having someone with this large group already having two characters come in?
So I had some regrets for one, allowing the group size to be 6. This is definitely, unless it's a charity event, this is definitely the last time I would run six players. I felt that the decision at the time was okay, because we had 4-hour sessions, which definitely helps because now I've moved to having only 3-hour sessions, and the campaign was more, combat focused than most campaigns, so there was less of a worrying about people not sharing the spotlight, because there was less role playing in general, because of the focus was pretty heavy on combat. I wanted to see the Beastheart in play because I was very curious about it. I was also very curious about A5E stuff, so I wanted to see that, and I just kind of treated this Red Hand game as sort of a play testing environment to see, because at the time when we started this, I was very upset about the inequity between 5e casters and 5e marshals, and I was desperate to find any way for them to shine a bit more. I will say that I didn't feel that Beastheart was any worse than Marshall or a spellcaster whose DM has not banned the conjure spells or animate objects or any of the other action economy destroying things. You were skilled and played the character quickly, and even in those times where it felt like you had two full characters, you didn't dominate like your time at the table. You made your decisions and you kind of moved on. So like I would probably allow it again. I wish that the Beast Master Ranger was this. Do you know what I'm saying? Like in Saltmarsh Moon, we had Illyria Payne and Spencer, and she was a Beastmaster Ranger, and we did everything we could to try and make that work and feel better and impactful. And I will say that Spencer the Whalehound died way less than Claude for sure.
At least I have a way of bringing them back. I don't know about.
So does Beastmaster Ranger. So does Beastmaster Ranger. But she played a lot more conservatively with her beast companion. Yours was like, I'm up front. I'm gonna do this shit. I'm gonna take these hits so that other people don't have to take them. And I think a lot of that I started to associate like Claude with this being that was like, I would have died on that mountain if it wasn't for this mousekin, kind of thing. I would have died for my wounds if he hadn't helped me. I will die for him as many times as it takes.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah. So like I kind of just viewed him as like this very stoic, like in the movies and in the shows when you got the big dude that just takes fucking hits and like he acts like it doesn't hurt, but it hurts, but like he's gonna take those hits so that other people don't have to take those hits. Like that was Claude. Like I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's overall how I was kind of playing Orion too. That he's attached to the party, and that if he has to be, the small one along with Claude, if we have to be the one to be taking those hits, and God knows you fucking crit my ass over and over. If that spares other people from taking those, then we would do so.
Yeah, I would say that if you have a player that wants to like really bad wants to be a pet class, I think that this is a good class to allow. If that player is an indecisive person who takes a long time to make decisions with a single character, it might not be the right class for them. It's a very complicated class. There's a lot going on. It's definitely, in my opinion, an expert level class. But I think that overall, having played with one in Monster Hunter and having DM'd one, I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's terribly broken. I don't think it's terribly under or overpowered. It's certainly not a Matt Mercer Blood Hunter situation. Like, it's definitely a playable class, and it's definitely a good solution if you have a player that wants to be a monster tamer or a pet ranger or something like that. So
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions?
Time people have.
Yeah, I would say we should hard stop in 10 minutes. So hard stop 10 minutes. Unless anybody wants to go now. I mean, we can go now. That's it.
I don't. I think Odyssey's pretty upfront with its antagonist. Whereas the Red Hand campaign, and I don't know if this was the same for the original as well. Like, we faced off against the Red Hand officers and stuff like that. But Azar Cool himself was just, a mysterious figure in the background, and we never really interacted with him until the very end. So I'm kind of wondering from everyone here, like, what do they kind of prefer? Like, having more of that interaction with that antagonistic force, or having them be like the spooky boogeyman in the back?
It felt like one of those old school stories where the protagonist goes through all this hassle to try and reach the bad guy, and it's their first and last time actually meeting and fighting and killing the bad guy at the very end. You know, like there's no real interaction until the end point,
Right.
if that's right. So, I mean, we learned a lot from the people around Arzerpool and the Red Hand, but really, I think more of a personal approach was my preference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate
it's
being as
definitely
is.
it's definitely old school design, and
Yeah.
it's definitely old school storytelling, old school design. You can definitely kind of feel that. Curse of Strahd, Odyssey, you know, a lot of the more modern games, like they're like, yeah, bad guy, and the bad guy's like, I'm the bad guy, I'm fucking coming for you. Come at me, try it. I'm way higher level than you. And then you're like, I'm gonna hit the gym, and I'm gonna beat you up someday. Like that's like a more modern story, right? Of like, oh, I know evil. I've seen evil. I'm gonna level up, and I'm gonna come back for you, evil. Whereas here, yeah, he is very removed, right? Like he doesn't give a shit about you guys. Like he's got stuff to do. He's got like a whole army to run, a whole religion to run. He's got a god he's trying to raise. He's got allies he's trying to recruit. Like he doesn't have time to deal with your shit. Which is why, and I think Cryptid picked up on this right away. When you guys met him, I made sure to have him say, you know, we've never met, but I've met you before, like, and you've met me. Like we have butted up against each other this whole time. Like you are not unknown to me, and I am certainly not unknown to you. And like here we are finally in the same place, looking each other in the eyes. But for him, like you became like a known quantity, right? Like because you were going around and stopping him and opposing him and all that kind of stuff, and he had scrying and you know all that kind of shit. So like he knew you, like, and he knew of you, and he felt your presence. So like that was kind of the saving, like me trying to kind of like fish that out of the whole like it's a Final Fantasy JRPG. Like here's the final boss, maybe. Like, there was another final boss you didn't know about. It's the ancient secret super god of evil that was actually there the whole time, but you never heard about ever. And now you gotta fight them. Like, this kind of had that vibe to it, like a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely getting that old school feeling. Even kind of like games like Ghosts and Goblins or like Castlevania, where like you have the layout of like where you're gonna be kind of moving to, or at least more. Actually, this would be more Ghosts and Goblins and everything. You have your layout of like where you're gonna be moving. You go from level to level to level. You see that castle on the horizon and know that's your end goal. But you have to deal with all the other things along the way before you get there.
Yeah, and even if you guys had, for whatever reason, been like, oh, that guy escaped, we're gonna use Jurt's power, we're gonna track him through the mountains, we're not gonna give up, and you guys had stumbled upon the Fane of Blood, like you wouldn't have been able to get in, right? But then you would have known it was there as sort of this like, what is this place, right? Like why is this here? And then later on, like, you know, maybe you go to find information about it, and that gives you more insight faster into what is going on. But yeah, ultimately, it was designed that he is outside of your reach for a very long time, until the very end of the game. Dude doesn't even show up for his own war, you know? Yeah. And some leaders are like that, you know? Not all leaders lead from the front.
That's true.
Yeah, like he trained his people well, and he sent his people out to do their fucking job, and he trusts them to do their fucking job. I fell in love with hobgoblins running the first Red Hand of Doom. I think they are phenomenal. I think that their culture is fascinating. I think that as an evil heritage, they are one of the best evil heritages. And I was a little heartbroken when they got they got softened up, when they got their edges rounded off, as 5e seems to want to do with everything. So I was desperate to sort of find a way to keep that Acheron kind of like, you know, eternal battlefield in our blood heritage, while also gelling with the new mythos that they were fey creatures.
You made it work. I'll give
yeah.
you that much. It
Yeah,
was troublesome.
Fortunately, there's the Shadow Fae, there's the Fae Dark. There's a lot of evil places in the Feywild. So it wasn't the hardest thing to do, but I was very happy with the results because they are such a fascinating species, a fascinating heritage, and I feel like they deserve better than getting their corners rounded off. So, yeah.
If you don't mind me saying this, I kind of expected a lot more permanent deaths in this campaign.
I
From
don't
what
mind
I've been told.
I don't mind you. Yeah, I don't mind you saying that at all. Honestly.
Because I
yeah.
spoke with Larry like sessions ago, long ago, about how. Because when Drellin died, he told me how I was feeling and like, sorry it happened to, and I told him I was like, I'm fine with it, really.
Well,
I mean,
right,
at some point, I expected it to happen, so it's like,
Yeah, I mean, it says right here on our thing over here that
exactly, yeah.
An action adventure, few versus many meat grinder, right? So like, yeah, like there was a lot of death in the previous one compared to this one. I also think that you guys were just more skilled, like players. I just think you overall were like more skilled at the game, so that definitely played a big part. The first Red Hand group was very disorganized. Their greatest enemy was their own teamwork, essentially. And so a lot of the death just came from like, selfish decisions and plays and just not working well as a team. I felt like you guys, for the most part, believe it or not, for the most part, I felt like you guys did work really well together and that you knew a lot about your characters, their builds, how to play. Also, nowadays we have Succeed at a Cost and, fate points, and I don't know if this campaign had fate points or not, but we got Succeed at a Cost. We had, there's a lot more things in play that could kind of keep you guys going than when it was run originally. And then, of course, back in the day, it was considered to be a relatively difficult adventure, like by the standards of the time. Of course, there were groups that just cheesed all the stuff because there's so much cheese in 3.5 D&D. For example, that staff that you guys got can cast Heal. Well, in 3.5, Heal would leave the Ghost Lord with 1d4 hit points. Because it works as a harm spell against undead. So, like, how is a party that is not high enough level to defeat the Ghost Lord supposed to at least defeat the Ghost Lord? Well, they gave you the thing to do it. So yeah, there were things like that. They relied a lot on like cheese and mechanics, like playing a Divinity 2 playthrough on the highest difficulty. You gotta drop heavy chests on people, teleport them into lava. That was kind of like how hard they made this initially.
Ooh. Butler Log makes a good comment of us using active initiative in this. I think also kind of helped.
Oh yeah. Butler Log says the initiative system forces, or at least encourages, more teamwork and team thinking, and then you are able to rally and regroup. Whereas in a static initiative, you get stuck in a bad loop and you're just hosed. Yeah. Like I've seen static initiative fights where a person keeps getting, because you can't ready a bonus action, so they keep getting like Healing Word, and right before a bad guy goes, the bad guy just pops them in the head again and knocks them out again. And you're just stuck in these like endless loops where the static initiative just keeps forcing these same patterns of play over and over and over again. Whereas active initiative, if you guys ever needed to, you just don't do any damage. Let's regroup. Let's reposition. Let's pull back and buff ourselves and heal ourselves. There was that as well. So yeah, there was a lot more, I guess we'll call them quality of life improvements since the last time I ran Red Handed Doom, that lent themselves to continued survival, for sure. So, honestly, I'd say the hardest fight of the whole campaign was those goddamn kappas. I didn't realize that, like, water was going to shut your entire party down so hard. I was like, oh my god.
Look, we weren't expecting it, okay?
Yeah, Anyways. All right, so we're at 2 hours past our normal time. We've done some Q&A. We've done our epilogues. We beat the boss. We saved the land. And that's it. So, hope you guys. I don't know. Hope you guys had a good time, and I hope that it was a story worth remembering. And yeah, like stay on the Discord, run games on the Discord, join more groups on the Discord, watch more games on the Discord, play games, build community. Like, you're welcome. Stay. Like, be a part of it. You are a part of it. And hey, thanks to modern technology, there are hundreds of people who have gotten to enjoy your journey with you. And anyone at any time can go and see the journey that you went on and the things that you've done. So it's kind of cool.
I wanted to thank you again for running.
Yeah, same here, man. You did a good job.
4 finales that you had to run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The finale part. The finale trilogy.
It's hard. It's hard to time these things out. It's
It
so
is.
hard to time these things out.
And when I ran Odyssey, man, I was like, all right, we're almost done. 4 months later, all right, we're almost done.
It yeah. After this experience, I was like, well, I'm not going to even schedule new games until like we're very sure about like when it's gonna end. Like, I'm not gonna be like, we're gonna start this game at this time and I advertised the game for this. I'm very much just gonna start posting games that are like, we're gonna play till it's done. I don't know, but it's tricky. It's tricky because yeah, it's very hard. All right, I'm gonna go. Be a little sad, but also a little happy. Yeah, see you guys around the Discord.
See you around. I'm gonna
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much
for
for
my
doing that.
session. Appreciate you guys' work. Like, this is a weird way of saying it. I mean, I'm glad that we didn't have to schedule it around it, and I can make it for the birthday. But I gotta get going now.
Oh, it is your birthday. We forgot. Happy birthday!
No,
God
it's
damn
alright.
it!
No,
Alright,
it didn't.
Birthday
No,
cake.
I'm heading out right now. I hope
All
you
right.
guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the future.
All right.
Yep, you too, man.
All right.
Bye, young man.
I'm a young man.
Young blood. And
Oh,
thank you everyone for joining us on this journey.
don't
very
forget
much.
to donate fanspo to Daybreak, guys. They'll need it. Trust me.
We'll need it, but we still got some double digits. We have
Oh, and
two-
never mind then. Nightfall.
I don't know. Yeah. Donate to Nightfall. Donate to. We have the Alkenstar games coming up. I'm actually gonna probably ask in Discord what we want to do with these 2 fanspos. Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. Very much appreciate your viewership, and see you next time.
We'll be seeing you guys later. Peace.